All right. Howdy, everybody. My name's Casey Salge.
I'm Brian Penso.
We are here. There's a show that y'all might have heard of. It's called The Between Two Ferns. And so we're going to do a little different, and it's between two whiskeys. So welcome. And first off, happy birthday, brother. So another lap around the sun, and we decided that we're going to record a little video tonight to celebrate. And something that Brian called me up and said, man, let's do a video. And let's talk about why have a business.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that, man. What triggered that for you?
I've been self-employed my whole life, and I learned a long time ago. It's wealth is not created upon how much money you make. Wealth is created on how much money you get to keep. And being a W-2 employee, which most people are, I mean that's fine if you're happy doing that and you don't want anything else. But if you really want to connect and create wealth, you've got to be able to save money. And the tax laws were written for the small business person. So, I've been self-employed my whole life. I've built multiple companies. I just sold a big one that I built, started in 1987, to tell you the truth, and just needed a change. Since then, I've started a couple other side ones, and you just have to look at this, and this has not ever been explained to you quite like this before. So this is probably going to be an eye-opener. I really hope it is, because if you want to get out of the debt and you want to create wealth over time, that's the big thing. Wealth is created over time. It's not overnight. This video is going to be for you. You're going to learn a lot, and I think you're gonna be very happy with the data that you're going to get. So,
yeah, excellent. So we've got ourselves a little bit of an outline here that we're going to flow through and come to some conclusions that Brian and I, we've been working together for, hell man, it's been 10, 12 years, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while. So we've been in a couple different ventures together, and love hanging out with this dude. He's got some insights, and they come from an area where you wouldn't expect it, man. I mean, it's just all of a sudden like, huh, that was a pretty good, cool way of saying that. I like that. So really enjoyed knowing Brian for all the years that we have, and I think y'all are going to enjoy this as well. So Brian just mentioned, having a business so that you can keep more money. Those tax laws that we talked about there briefly, and we're recording this in February, and tax season is upon us. So everybody's starting to get those W-2 forms coming in, and maybe you're getting a 1099 from something here or there, and you look at all those things like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You go online and you go TurboTax if you're crazy enough to do that yourself, or hopefully you're hiring somebody to go do this that has that professional help. That will be, take notes, write that down first, get a CPA regardless of what it costs. You will save more than what their cost is. There's a lot of value that you're going to get there. But one of the things they're going to ask you is, do you have any deductions? Do you have a business? Do you have any sort of business? And most people don't, because we're not taught how to do business. We're not taught what to do to start a business. And so, but one of the reasons that you want to have a business is because of being able to keep more money. There's a CPA that I had met actually at a pretty large event that I went to. I spent 5 figures to go to this event. I decided I got up early and I sat on the front row, and I sat next to this lady, and we hit it off right away, and I loved her accent, and come to find out she was going to be one of the speakers on stage. And she's a CPA. Her name's Courtney Epps, and we became friends quickly, and she got up on stage and started talking about how the average family can save in their pocket an extra $4,000 to $8,000 a year on average. This is the average income of a family, and that average is about $56,000 a year is what the average family in America makes. So an extra $4,000 to $8,000 being able to be kept simply because you have a business. Now, by having that, you get a lot of things as deductions. And I'm not a CPA. Are you a CPA?
I am not a CPA.
So get with the CPA to verify everything we're saying. But this is what we've learned over time and through our CPAs is that that's what you want to do. So just that extra amount, we were doing the math before this video, and it was 13%.
Yeah.
So $8,000 on, and I rounded up to, I think, 60 grand. If somebody's making 60 grand and they saved $8,000 more on their taxes. So they pay in taxes every day, every check, a little bit comes out. and that's the federal withholding, right? And that piles up. You don't even get to touch your own money and give it to them later. They grab it before you even get a chance to spend it. That way they know they get theirs. And that piles up and is sitting with the IRS. So you've paid that in already throughout the year. Get 8,000 of that back at tax time simply because you got a business. That's a 13% pay raise every year on average. That's a pretty darn. You go into work on Monday and boss says, "Hey, you've been doing a great job. Here's 13% pay raise."
Yeah, not going to happen. Not going to happen. And that's the thing that the teaching has been wrong for a long time. Back in the day, it was 95 to 5%. 95% of the people were W-2 type people, and 5% controlled all the money.
Mm-hmm.
That stat has shifted a little bit. It's 97 to 3% now. 3% control all the money. The 97% do not have the data. That's the only thing that separates the 97 from the 3 is the data and the information that they have received. I was fortunate enough to hang around a bunch of business people that explained this to me. And because I was oblivious to it, I didn't learn it in school, and you're not going to learn it in school. The only way you're going to learn it is if you hang around people that are willing to teach you, and you get in with a group that are involved with business people that can start to show you how to climb that ladder. Because what you're going to see and learn tonight, you probably haven't heard before. And they don't want you to hear it. You know, that's the thing. They like to keep people broke because broke people are easier to control.
That's right.
And I don't like being controlled. That's why I've been self-employed my whole life. But most definitely that increase, that $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year, that can go a long way. That can go to groceries. It can go to all different kinds of things. I think you've even got some examples of what you can do with that. Mm-hmm. So looking forward to hearing those too.
Yeah, so let's take that right away. So 4,000 to 8,000. Let's land somewhere in the middle. $6,000 because that's an easy number to deal with. That's $500 a month. 12 months times $500 at $6,000. So let's say on average you're going to get to put an extra $500 back in your pocket every month. What are you going to do with that? You can do all kinds of stuff. He mentioned groceries. Actually buy groceries. That would be nice. Get some organic produce or something, right?
Yeah,
that would be
exactly.
Awesome. Maybe go get ice cream with the kids or go to a movie or something like that, right? Something else that you can do is you could apply that. We've been trying to think of some different ways that people can see this $500 as tangible and expand your mind. If let's say you're blessed enough to have your own home and you have a mortgage on your home. And let's just throw out an example. Let's say this is probably on the high side, but let's say you have a $400,000 mortgage. You got a 30-year mortgage. You buy your house. You had to put so much money down. It was all said and done. You got a 6% rate. Now that's a little better than what's going on right now, but again, just for an example, it's 5 years into the mortgage. So that $400,000 you've been paying a lot of money per month. You've been paying like $2,300 a month for 5 years, right? So if you add all that up, you think like, man, that's quite a bit, right? That would be like hundreds of thousands almost that I've already paid, right? No, your mortgage is down to $372,000. Congratulations, you've paid $28,000 down. So basically in those 5 years, 1 year went towards your principal and 4 years went to the bank's interest so that they have extra money. That's their profit. And they appreciate you doing that. And if
they get theirs first.
that they do. And if they don't get theirs, they get your house. Exactly. So it's a pretty good game if you can get into it. So what would that extra $500? What if you just applied it straight to your mortgage? So you can do that. You can pay the amount that you owe, and then each month you can pay a little bit extra. And you probably heard this before, and a lot of people talk about it, but we want to give a tangible benefit of what that extra $500 would do if it was money you weren't expecting. It's already taken out of your check. And then you get it back as a tax refund, right? You're like, ooh, free money. It was your money, but you've never touched it before. So it's brand new. You didn't have this before. So you've got a business. So you're going to save an extra $4,000 to $8,000. So $500 a month. What do? You apply it towards your mortgage alone. What would that do? It would shave 7 years and 9 months off of you paying your mortgage. So instead of paying $2,300 a month, you're paying $2,800 a month. And then it's not extra money that you had to go find. It was literally just poof, because of the tax laws. They said, here's more money back. That's going to save you $100,000 in interest savings that you're not going to have to give to that bank because you paid off your mortgage early by 7 years and 9 months.
The bank's not going to like you, but it's going in your pocket, not theirs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a couple of the reasons why you want a business. So you might be saying, okay, Casey, Brian, yeah, no kidding. We need a business. That's great. But man, have you ever tried to open a business?
Yeah, I've opened up a few of them.
Yeah. How was that?
Very expensive.
Yeah.
Reoccurring costs, brick and mortar business. You've got the rent, you've got your insurance, you've got your taxes, you've got inventory, you've got labor, gas, electric, water. I mean, you name it.
Lawyers. Don't forget your lawyers.
Oh, your lawyers, to read over your contracts to make sure that you're not signing something stupid, that kind of thing. So your reoccurring costs are just astronomical on a monthly basis. Then you have to pay that before you put any money in your pocket.
Yeah.
So
why do people start a business usually? It's because they got an idea. It's like, I've got a widget. Everybody needs this widget. I've invented a better pen. I can sell a bunch of these pens. It'll be amazing. Or, you know what? I found a way to really do some pretty cool things with concrete. That's what you did.
Right.
Or, you know what? People need embroidery on their T-shirts for their business and on their hats and on their golf balls and everything else that they're going to want, embroidered or screen printed or whatever. These are different types of businesses. And that's why a lot of people will get started. They'll start with something that's a hobby, and then they'll start and try to turn that into an actual business. But as Brian mentioned, man, the barrier to entry for having your own business is a lot. A lot of people will say, man, you should say you bake cookies, right? Let's say you got the secret recipe from grandma. And it's like, these are the best cookies. Like, I hand these out and people take one bite. It's the best cookies. They say, you should sell these. Like, that's a phrase. That's just in the vernacular of what people will say. You should sell these. No, you shouldn't. You should just give them to your friends because they're good cookies, man. You don't want to get in business because imagine selling food to the public, man. Good Lord.
A lot of hoops.
Oh, so yeah, Granny might be able to make a better cookie than one of those little Keebler elves, but guess what? Granny ain't in business, and the Keebler elves are in business for a reason because it's a big barrier to get started, man. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars very easily on some of the most basic things, and you might be able to make the thing, but that doesn't mean you know how to run a business. And running a business is hard, man. When you got to sign, everybody's used to signing the back of the check, right? They're not used to signing the front of the check. And when you got to make payroll, how much fun is that? What was your payroll, if I recall, per month? What were you jacking out there?
Oh, man, it was in the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. My guys liked me, but they didn't like me enough to get not paid.
Yeah.
I had to pay them before I get paid. And I think that's one of the problems that a lot of people don't. I mean, like, how much was your embroidery machine?
Just one machine was originally, it was in the $15,000 range just for one machine. And we had 3 of those going.
Right.
And then one of them goes down, and now your production's down. And same way with you with tractors, right? One front end loader goes down, and one big old piece of machinery,
Yeah. I mean, my front end loader was $80,000. My cement mixer was another $60,000 to $70,000. I had 4 Toyota forklifts that are like $35,000, $45,000 a piece. So the ability to deliver and being able to scale, it's a difference between. I know a lot of people that are really good at what they do. They can paint. I know mechanics that I can take anything to them that's broken and they can fix it, but they're not business people, and they don't know how to scale. The scaling is the biggest issue when you deal with businesses because the numbers are astronomical because you have to have deep pockets in order to make it through those times where the cash flow is not there. Then you've got accounts receivable. The bigger you get, then people start stretching you out 60, 90 days. Well, your bills aren't going out 60, 90 days. Your payment might be. I mean, we had accounts receivable. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of times I'm looking at the bank account with my partner saying, okay, we don't have enough here to make payroll. And then you have to borrow some from the bank in order to make payroll. And then that is coming at a fee. So that's the scaling part that is extremely difficult and extremely expensive to do. And if you stub your toe, the trip down is a whole lot faster than the one up. I can tell you that. You break a rung on a ladder, you're going to the ground, and it was a lot quicker than going up. That's for sure. You know.
Quickly. So at this point, you might be going, hey, this is a great video, man. I'm really excited. Thank you guys for completely bursting my new balloon that I just got when you told me I need to get my own business so I can have an extra $500 a month to save myself $122,000 in interest. Y'all are talking about front-end loaders for 80 G's, man. I'm sorry, I'm not getting there. So don't worry.
We're not going to leave you hanging.
We're not going to leave you hanging on that. But that's the type of thing where most people think about business. That's why it's 97% of the population go, screw that, man.
Yep.
You know, at the end of the day, my sanity is worth something, you know. And it takes a special kind of idiot like you and I to really want to go out and build our own business.
It's
like
easy
that.
to drop that little time card in the machine where it goes, and then you pick it up and put it in your slot. And
That's
you do
right.
that again at lunch, and you do
That's
that when
right.
you go home.
That's right.
Very simple.
Yes. And
But
I've
you're
been
not
doing it.
getting where you want to go doing that.
No, because
We're going to help
own
you.
They own you on that still.
Yep.
So let's talk about what type of business should you get into. So we talked about the downsides. Let's talk about an easier way of doing it, and that is called a home-based business. Because again, all of this goes back to the tax savings as one of the main drivers that we wanted to start with, because that alone, you would be brain dead, as my friend, the CPA Courtney says. You would, I think she said something else, but the title of her book was, you would be brain dead to not own your own home-based business. And that's the key, home-based business. So what does that mean? Well, maybe you like making spoons and carving. Maybe you like, basket weaving. Maybe you're really good at making quilts, right? You could do that and absolutely fine and have your own business. The IRS defines a business as an endeavor in the pursuit of profit.
Right.
And so you sell one blanket. It doesn't mean that it was a good endeavor at profit. It means it was an endeavor at profit. And so as long as you are trying to make money, and if you make a sale in 3 years, again, I'm not a CPA and don't have me show up with you at the IRS, but look this up on your own. But 3 years, you're good for the pursuit of going after that. So you could do a business where you start making blankets. Maybe you like knitting and quilting and doing all that. That's an example, but you're going to get those savings. You get your $500 a month. You'll be able to pay down your mortgage faster, save yourself $122,000 in that example I gave. But you also wouldn't mind actually truly making some money. That'd be pretty cool. So if I'm going to do this and get this thing set up, what can I go do on that? So what are some different home-based businesses you've heard of and maybe we've been involved in that you could try to do?
Well, I mean, you've got hair care products. You've got lotions and potions and creams and widgets and all this other different kinds of stuff. But, that's there's a lot of different things you can do, but there's a couple of them that really got our attention.
Yeah. We've been in a few. We tried that health and wellness that we did.
We did very well too.
We did, and we helped a lot of people on that with their health, and that was a cool thing. I know it helped you. I know it helped me, and that's how we actually got started. And we hadn't talked to each other, and I guess it's been a couple of years.
Right.
And you'd had some health issues, and you almost died.
Yeah.
And then this stuff helped out tremendously on your recovery, and I was starting to get some sleep at night. And but what's that word? I think it's called disposable income.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a business, you got to have a customer. Somebody's going to have to pay you for a product or a service. That's just what businesses are. All businesses fall into those two categories. You're paying somebody. You're paying a plumber for a service. Right, or you're paying, AT&T for the great service that they've had for the last couple of days on my cell phone, or you're going to Walmart and buying some goods, or you're going to HEB to your grocery store and buying some goods. Those are goods or services, and so when you do that, you have to have a customer. Somebody's going to pay some money. So when somebody wants to buy your thing, they need to have money to do so.
Exactly.
And so you mentioned a couple things. You mentioned lotions, potions, pills, makeup, hair. All of those things, I'm sure there's going to be some ladies who are going to argue with me on this, that hair and makeup is a disposable income. That's more of a necessity, I think.
Yeah.
But regardless, that's disposable. You have to have disposable income to do that. And what do we mean by disposable income? There's a certain amount of cost that you have each month to survive, to live. right? So what are some of the top bills that somebody has? I guess you got to live somewhere, right? So you got a mortgage or rent, right? That's one of them. What else you got?
Got a car payment.
You got car payment, insurance, to be able to make that car go around. And some people might say that the insurance is disposable and that's extra, but you're going to get in trouble without that. Next thing, your energy costs for living. You know, you got we're got the lights, you can see them in the reflection here. And you got to be able to have the AC if you live in Houston where we live. You got to have heat if you live up in the north. So you got those are expenses that you have to have. Those are must-haves. That's survival level stuff. The hair, the makeup, the lotions, potion, pills, that's disposable. That's if you have additional money at the end of the month, then you can get some of those things, especially if they make you feel good, and people will.
Right.
But we ran into that so many times. We would have the most amazing testimonial stories of how good this thing was.
Oh, yeah.
And then they would stop buying it. And we're like, what the hell? Do you not like feeling good? Do you want to deal with health problems down the road? What was their response?
The problem was they liked heat, air conditioning, a car to drive, and lights on in their house more than feeling good.
That's right.
And that's why those products went away, because that's where the disposable money is.
That's
the
right.
Disposable income went.
Inflation is a mofo, as they say, man. It's
tough.
It's tough. And I mean, go to the grocery store right now. It's double what you would used to. I mean, you get done and it's like, I literally have 2 bags. The small one. I didn't even
It's
break my own.
$100.
It was $100. I'm like, the hell? And it wasn't even good disposable income.
Exactly.
I mean, come on, what the heck's going on here? This is ridiculous. So what if, call me crazy, what if we could have a home-based business that was on the top bill that they got to pay, which is their rent or their mortgage? That would be kind of cool.
That would be probably a pretty good idea.
What are those? Those are called mortgage brokers and real estate agents, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're everywhere. I mean, every time I turn around, I got somebody calling me trying to sell me something or buy my house, or there's a lot of them. There's a lot of competition.
There's a lot of competition out there, and you're gonna hit all your friends and everybody, but guess what? Everybody knows at least 2 or 3 realtors, right?
Oh, most definitely.
And I'm not saying you can't make money at it. There's a lot of people that do very well in that, and that's great. But if that's not your cup of tea, then that's kind of out. And there's some cost on that too.
Yeah, I was going to say,
insurance license.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you know what the fees are on that?
There's
the license and all that testing.
I would guess it's gotta have a comma in it. It's got to be over $1,000, right?
I would think so.
And home-based business are typically a whole lot less. It's not like buying tractors and buying 18-wheelers full of product coming in on a daily basis, and hundreds of T-shirts coming in and all the equipment and stuff that we've got. It's not that level of investment. But so let's say $1,000, and that's probably way low side to be able to get started. And then you've got high-ticket items. And is somebody going to trust you to go take care of selling their most prized asset?
You have no track record, so now you've got to start building that as yourself as an asset. That hey, this guy really knows his ropes. He knows the ropes. He knows what he's doing. He protects his customers and his clients to make sure that everything is punctual, done. All the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. That takes time to build up a reputation. That could be 12, 18, 24 months.
Yeah. All right. So that one's probably not the best one. So what's the next big thing that we spend money on that everybody needs from you need it? We said a car. So that's going to be the next thing. You need transportation. So you can sell cars. That's not really a home-based business, I don't think. So, and again, you make a lot of money in that, but that is truly sales. I mean, that's sales 101. You gotta be a shark typically to get out there. And again, people are going to argue with me on that, but it takes a whole lot of sales skills to be able to do that. So
selling is a whole different animal. I mean, I've never met anybody who really liked car salesmen.
No, not
typically. I mean,
they might have a good experience, but it's like
when they left the dealership, they went home and took a shower because they just felt that grime on them. It's like, this was not a good experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't feel good to look like a piece of meat walking through the front door that they eye you as. It's like, exactly. We're going to chew this fool up and spit them out. All right, so next up is energy, electricity. What if we could have a home-based business on electricity?
That would be pretty good.
How would that work? How could one possibly do that? I guess we would have to go out and buy our own power plant. That's probably not going to be a good thing to do, huh?
That's probably not an option.
No, we should probably get with a company that's already doing that for us.
That
right?
would be better.
That would be much better because that's going to take.
They already did all the heavy lifting.
That's probably going to take hundreds and hundreds of millions and like hundreds of millions of dollars to get started. It'd be cool if somebody else did that for you, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And then after that, then you're going to need to be able to have all the systems in place to be able to actually switch that over and tie into all the grids and all that type of stuff. If there was only a company that could do that for us, Brian, that would be pretty cool, huh?
It would. It would make our lives a whole lot easier, and we wouldn't have any overhead.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat. So there was, and we actually did that together about 12 years ago, didn't we?
Yep.
And we did pretty darn good at that. We had a pretty good run there, but we moved on and we actually tried that health and wellness perspective, the lotions, potions, and pills. We helped a lot of people.
Did very well, too.
We did. We made a whole lot more money in that because there was a lot more money to be made in that. And then something here recently happened where another company came around, and it was from a guy that's been in the industry for a long, long time and actually has done extremely well for himself and got the backing of about $800 million. They stroked him a check for $100 million, if I recall.
Yeah, it's $100 million.
And then said, go own the space and do it in a way that's very good for the environment. And so we've got a mission now to actually do it in a good way. And the money that's paid out, if I recall, is approximately 6 times more than what we made before.
Well, the beauty of this is this is not the guy's first go-round. He didn't think this was just a great idea and do it. This is his third go-round.
Third rodeo.
So, do you think he learned anything in the first one and the second one that he's applying to the third?
I would think so.
So
And it
I would
appears that
say,
he has.
yeah, I would say that the guy has probably got it figured out. And what he hasn't figured out, he's got a team of guys in there that are helping figure that out as he goes.
You know, it was really cool. I recall when we did that first one, it took us about 3 years in that company for them to get into 3 different states.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then I think it took probably like 10 years to get into 13 or 14 states. And that was just on the retail energy side. And then this company did it on day one. They just came in and had all that open, if I recall.
I think he had 12 states when they actually opened up.
Yeah, and then they added Texas.
Added Texas, yep.
Yeah, that's not too bad. And then, you know, something else I was thinking about is on the energy side, is solar is kind of a big deal.
Oh, yeah, it's huge.
It is, right? So there's a lot. I mean, man, everybody's knocking on doors and making phone calls, and you look on any website, and somebody wants to know, do you want solar panels? Because there's government programs out there and all of that stuff. What do you think about that? You think that'd be a good
I think it's a
business?
great idea, but, you know, not everybody qualifies. I mean, if your house has got a lot of trees around it, guess what?
It worked for you because I'm never coming to you to try to offer you that.
Yep. That doesn't work. And the overall cost, the upfront cost in order for you to do that is astronomical. And I think that's the big thing that people don't understand. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to save a lot of money, but how many nickels do you have to shuck out at the front end?
You know, in my house, it was, I want to say it was just shy of $80,000 for that system, for the solar panels.
$80,000.
Yep, and then I was going to get this nice rebate. Cool thing about that rebate is that they don't give it all to you in the first year because of IRS rules, but they didn't explain that very well. So
yeah,
I got to spread that over 5 years.
That's all in the fine print that you didn't see at the bottom.
That was great. I really enjoyed that immensely.
Oh, I'll bet so.
Oh, and then the other thing about that is you get to deal with the homeowners association. I don't know if you like the. I know you're a big fan of the homeowners association.
Let's not even go there.
And then the other thing is if you put it on your house and you need to sell it because, I don't know, maybe you get divorced or something like that, then that's a lot of fun. And all those savings you were going to get,
yeah,
you don't really get those.
Just disappears.
Yes. And then when you got to sell your house, they're not actually going to give you full value of what's in there for those panels. And trying to explain that to somebody on how that works, and oh my God, shoot me in the head. So there's a couple barriers there.
The other thing is too, is, you know, some of the solar, it's like if you're producing too much or over your requirements, you get to back spool on the grid and get your other rebates.
Yeah, get a little bit back on that.
But most of the companies, from my understanding, don't do that.
I didn't. So the company I was with for all that time that you and I were with, I was just thinking, it's going to spin it backwards, right? And no, they just kept that for months. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't go look. I just figured it was taking them a month or two to catch up. It was 3 months that I was giving them free energy, giving it back to
that they
them.
were spooling up and selling to somebody else.
Absolutely. I got nothing for
That was
it,
some more of that fine print. Yeah.
Good time. Now, solar,
times.
don't get me wrong. Solar, I think it's the coolest thing. I've read this thing. Check this out. There is more energy that hits planet Earth from that big orb that's out there during the day that makes it all hot.
Mm-hmm.
When it hits our planet, just half the planet, because it's only going to hit half the planet at a time.
Right.
In 1 hour, more solar energy, if we could harness all of that and capture that with solar panels, in 1 hour from the sun, that's hitting half the surface of the Earth, that is more energy than the entire world uses for an entire year, all energy combined.
Wow.
So solar's pretty damn cool
Yeah.
if you can harness it right. And they're getting there, right? They're moving, they're doing some different things. It'd be really cool if this company that we're with that's doing this electricity thing was doing some cool way of solar, huh? That'd be kind of neat.
That would be awesome. That
Good
would
news
be
is,
a great idea.
Good news is that they did, didn't they?
They did.
So there's this new thing. They're calling it like energy deregulation, the opportunity for us to even be allowed to be in the game, these companies to be in the game for the retail energy side is cause of deregulation. It's not even in all the states, but it's in a lot of them. And I think it's 13, 14 states, right?
Right.
Community solar is the name of this program that they have, and it's a state-by-state thing. And it has nothing to do with the deregulation of energy, but it's like Energy Deregulation 2.0 because it's opening up so many people into this opportunity to save money on their lights and to protect the environment at the same time by having it through these solar panels that we've got an amazing program. And that was just announced by this genius guy of ours that's running this company that's been around for a couple rodeos, and he opened 10 states.
Yeah.
Announce it in the middle of February, and by the end of March, we'll be in 10 new states. Is that not simply incredible?
That is. And from my understanding, it's, the community solars, there's a lot of land out there that hasn't been utilized. Some of your farmers, the farmer, he's planting, he's doing this, he's doing soybeans or corn or whatever, and their margins are squat. They're not making the money. So if they can lease the property to a company like ours, and instead of having cows out there or soybeans, they start planting, guess what?
Solar panels.
Solar panels. Thousands of them,
Yes.
which are all flushed, piped back into the grid. So now we're spooling solar into a grid system. So someone who's in an apartment.
Yes, because that's one of the barriers. If you want solar panels on the thing and what I was in, you had to own your own home.
Yep.
You couldn't rent it, and you couldn't do it on apartments.
Right.
And
right.
a lot of people live in apartments, and you couldn't get a part of the solar game.
Exactly.
Now you can.
Yep. See, because all of the solar's being connected or collected in these massive areas where they've just got acres and acres and acres of, guess what? Solar panels. I don't know if you've ever flown into Vegas or not, but you go out there, you can see just acres and acres and acres of panels.
Yes.
Well, all of that energy is being collected and shoved into that little old wire that's feeding into the spooling system that feeds the generation that's actually going to all of the people out there. They don't have solar panels. A lot of houses don't have the roof capacity to get enough solar panels
That's
up there
right.
to actually
Not even
function on their house.
That's right.
If you got a condo or an apartment,
Wrong angle.
too many trees. That was my issue. There's a lot of different factors that, yes, people want to go to solar, but they just don't have the ideal scene or the scenario for roof space, positioning, trees, shades, whatever. So it takes them out of the game. Well, we just put them back in the game because we're collecting the solar power out in the middle of nowhere with these solar panels, but piping it into the grid and sending it into apartments, condos, townhouses, small houses, and rentals.
Yes.
If you're renting, you can still get solar power.
That's right.
Simply because you don't have the stuff up on your roof.
So let's recap here for a second because we have gone way down this rabbit hole. We started off on you need your own business so that you can keep more of your own money. We talked about $500. What would that do? Now, there's a whole lot more money that can be made than $500, but let's just focus that alone simply for being in business. You don't get one community solar customer, you don't get one retail energy customer. You still get to put $500 a month back into your pocket as a result of this with the examples that we gave. And so we talked about what are the different businesses that you could do, and we talked about how you could have a home-based business in the energy space. And then we talked about a whole new thing that's added on top of that with the community solar. Now, let's dig into that for a second and understand that with you partnering with this company, what you're doing is you are acquiring customers. Now, one of the things, and we'll talk about this in a second, is sales. So put that on the back burner for just a second. But by doing this, what we're going to do is we are going to simply acquire a couple of customers and maybe some other people that might want to make some money and have a home-based business as well. They don't know how to get one started. They can get started with us in this business, and then they can start acquiring these customers. And when they're acquiring these customers, they can be a retail energy customer, just like your normal, what you write your check to for your normal electricity, or they can start getting these credits back for the community solar. And we're literally giving, there's no cost to the customer. It's a discount. These solar panels are giving these discounts so that people's energy costs go down somewhere between 5% on the minimum side and all the way up in some markets, 25% savings off their energy bill.
That's huge.
And it's free money.
Right.
And this is locked in, not for a couple months, not for a year, literally for 20 years, and in some markets, 25 years that this is locked in. So imagine being able to have 5% off of your electricity bill being sent to you back every single month. Is that hard to convince somebody?
Right.
What color car would you like? How many doors does it need? You don't have to ask any of those questions. You're literally not selling them anything. You are telling them, look, enroll for this. You can cancel it anytime if you want to, and you don't want free money anymore.
Right. Right.
But if you click this button, we're going to be able to give you between 5 and 25% for the next 20 years off your energy bill.
Which is more savings. I mean, you're acquiring more wealth.
And so you, as the business owner that's going out and selling, I'm going to use this word, selling, because we know people freak the hell out when we start talking about selling, right? Yep. Selling cars, we already talked about that. Nobody likes that. Is this selling? What's your definition of selling?
Selling for me is, when I was in the concrete business or other businesses, I had to convince somebody to reach in their pocket and spend money with me. And I was selling them something that a lot of times they did desire, but did they need it or did they have to have it? Okay, so selling for me is I've got to convince somebody to write me a check or give me money on a product, a service, or something, a widget of some sort, that they probably don't need or they probably don't have to have.
Disposable.
That's disposable income. Like me, if I wanted to go buy a boat, somebody's going to have to sell me and convince me on why I should buy their boat.
But it needs to go 60 miles an hour on the lake.
Exactly, at least, I know there's
a lot of boat with this man, just FYI.
There's no seatbelts in my boat. But no, that's the selling part of it. And I hear this all the time. I say, well, I can't sell. I hate sales. Well, people don't realize that they sell themselves every day. You had to sell yourself to get a job.
Mm-hmm. True statement.
You had to sell yourself to get a girl that you were looking at in a bar. I mean, she's just not going to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to go out. You had to sell yourself. That's selling. You're trying to convince somebody to get something that they probably don't need or want.
That's right.
Right. But
you have to sell anybody electricity?
No. You don't have to sell them something that they have to have.
Where's your light switch?
Exactly.
Let me show you how this stuff works.
What we do is recommend.
Yes, that's exactly
if you've got a new burger place that opens up in your town and you go down there and it's the worst burger that you've ever had in your life, are you going to recommend that burger place?
Unless I don't
Chances
like the guy.
are, unless I don't like the guy, yeah, exactly. Oh man, you got to go down and try this burger.
Awesome.
They're only $19 and they're the best burger you'll ever have in your life. Okay, I lied a little bit there. It cost the guy some money. But you don't have to sell something to somebody that is a necessity that they have to have.
They already got it.
They're already buying it, and probably they're getting hosed on what they're buying.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
All we're doing is saying, hey, I'm not trying to sell you something here. What I'm trying to do is I'm going to give you some data. I'm going to give you some information. And you're a big boy, big girl. You can make your own decision on whether or not this is a good deal for you
Is
or not.
14 cents better than 19 cents per kilowatt?
I don't know. You'd have to get a calculator for that one.
I mean, that's literally the extent of the convincing and the data that we got to give. Isn't it crazy?
I'm not in a convincing business. I've saved a lot of people a lot of money. I mean, I think the record high for me, referring somebody, I saved them $302 a month. That's a car payment.
I'm sure that was a hard close in the sales vernacular.
Oh, yeah, it was terrible. I mean, it was a real nail biter.
So let me see. I'm going to get the exact same stuff shipped to me by the exact same people. My lights are not going to burn any brighter. They're going to be the exact same.
They're not going to be any dimmer either.
Just the same stuff.
Yep.
And it's going to cost me $300 less.
Yeah.
Well, what happens?
302 as a matter of fact. Let's make sure we get this right.
Because $500 would save you $122,000. What would $300 a month shave off on top? What if? Call me crazy. What if you were in the business and you were also a customer?
Oh, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
imagine that. So we've beat around bush. We talked about a lot of stuff, but what we haven't talked about is we talked about the expense of a lot of different businesses. We talked about your front end loader alone. When that fuel pump goes out on that,
Yeah. $3,000.
just like that, and that's
just
just
4,000.
and hours and knuckles to go with it, and probably some cursing as you're changing all that.
Just a few. Just a few. Exactly.
What do you think a business like this to be able to offer people solar without having to put upfront cost, zero cost for them to get into the solar game? No barrier to entry other than it's just got to be in the state, and they're opening up states, literally 10 of them in the next 6 weeks. What's the cost in something like this, Brian, for somebody to get started in?
You would think thousands.
Yep.
But it's 130.
Yeah. Basically cell phone, huh?
Yeah. Cell phone bill.
Y'all got one of these,
You can
right?
basically be in business for, I'm guessing, for most people that I know, there's their cell phone bills because the games are so important that they have to have all that extra data.
You gotta have that, man.
Oh, yeah.
Candy Crush ain't gonna play itself.
Oh, exactly. And those birds, what the hell's that called?
Angry Birds.
Angry Birds. I've never seen one Happy Birds.
Nope.
Only Angry. And I don't know if there's Angry Birds and Happy Birds or for only Angry.
Angry.
But if you could start a business for less than $140 that can save you $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a year.
Without getting any customers.
Right.
And then if you've got a customer,
then you got some cash flow.
start making some money.
Exactly. Because see, the old laws, like I said, I'm not a CPA here, but I've been around the block a few times. The old laws, and statistically, most businesses fail within the first 3 to 4 years. 3 out of 5 go out of business in the first 4 years. Mm-hmm. Only a handful of them survive. Okay, so you can actually have a business and not show a profit, a true profit. Mm-hmm. Because
pursuit.
Exactly. It's the pursuit of wealth or pursuit of an income. And what you got to understand is you're spending money. You're spending money to make money. But there's nothing, absolutely nothing in the tax laws that says you have to be profitable in your first 6 months.
Nope.
Or 8 months. Or 9 months.
It's a long time to turn a profit.
It used to be 5 years. Now it's 3. Mm-hmm. So what are the chances that you could find 10, 15, 20, 30 customers in 36 months?
I'd say pretty damn high.
Exactly.
You know what's really cool is on the math of it, I think you need 6 customers to show a profit in your business.
6. Okay.
And you
I've got 19.
And you got 3 years to do that, and you didn't take 3 years to do that for your 19.
No, I did 19 in, I think about 40 days. 42 days.
That was a lot of selling, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I had to sell my butt off. I saved one lady $263 a month in Houston.
Isn't that cool?
She couldn't believe it. And that's the thing. Most people don't understand their bills. It's kind of like your engine on your car. Years ago, you used to open up your hood, you look in there, you got a carburetor, you got points, you got condenser, you got an alternator, you got a fan and a radiator. Pretty self-explanatory. But now you just kind of open up the hood, look in there and say, oh, that looks good. You close the hood.
It's not on fire. It's not smoking.
Exactly.
Let's go.
So it's just the complication.
Yes. And this is the most simplest thing in the world on the traditional. Now, don't forget, we got two things we offer people, right? We have the regular electricity, and then we've got this community solar side. And both of those count, and you make tons. You get one customer on the community, two customers on the community solar, you've already broken even. Just on the amount of money that we're going to be able to make for that.
Yep.
Pretty fascinating. All right, so let's wrap this thing up here. So what we talked about, we started off with, why do you want to have a business? Everybody hears about that. What are you going to do with the money? We talked about that. What would that money turn into if you just had some extra coming in? What about the taxes and how can you keep more of it? How does that all work? We've talked about that. And then we got into, on the business side, what are some examples of businesses and why is there a barrier for most people getting started? And then we talked about having a home-based business, and we talked about different forms. Then we talked about disposable income and how most people don't have any, and it would be better.
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah. There's a phrase that people that I heard is, if you're ever going to be in business, make sure you're selling the aspirin, not the lollipop.
Right.
And the idea behind that is when your head's pounding and you have a headache, man, it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. You got to fix that thing, or your day's done.
Yep.
But if you got a lollipop, it might be good, but it's not going to change my day like an aspirin is going to. Electricity is the third aspirin, right? You got to have a place that's shelter, and you got to have transportation, and you got to have something to make the house and then the car actually go. Because I got a Tesla, so I need electricity on that. So
exactly.
you got to have that. So we're talking about being able to offer the third one without hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. We're talking the cost of a cell phone.
Cell phone bill, exactly.
And if you watch this video really, really soon, just so you know, it's a whole lot less than that. It's like the cost of 2 burgers at Whataburger almost now. It's expensive with inflation.
It's not much at all.
So get with whoever sent you this video and get with them and say, yeah, I'm ready to get started on this thing. And if you're seeing this just randomly, then get with me or Brian, and we're going to get you started. We're going to show you every step along the way. The cool thing about this also is, was there anybody you could call when you were in business that would help you figure stuff out?
No. I had the tax collector wanted to know when I was going to send a check, and the sales tax people wanted to know when they was getting their check.
You didn't have a phone a friend or anything on that.
Nah, there wasn't no dial for
and if you did, you were paying for that when you were paying those.
I could call my attorney, but as soon as the phone rang, it was $120 an hour, and you just do the math on that. So
what's cool about our business is the way it's structured is you don't pay us a dime for the help that we offer you.
Exactly.
We get paid by the company to help you. And the more successful you are, the more successful we are. And guess what? We like being successful, so therefore we're going to bury our success in the success of you. So you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself with this as well.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the amount of years that we've got. I mean, you've been self-employed, a long time. I've been
whole life.
I turned 58 today, believe it or not. And I've been self-employed most of my life.
Yep.
I had my first business when I was 15 years old. My dad was self-employed, and I saw what could happen, and that was one of the things that's like, wow, I can work for myself. I can create my own clock. I can work if I want, or if I don't want to work, I don't have to work. But that's one of the beauties, and this thing coming full circle. We have the golden goose.
Yes.
We really do.
Yes.
With the amount of years of experience that you've got in business, my years of experience in business.
And even specifically in this one, too. I mean, I got 2 magazine covers under my belt.
Yeah, he's famous.
And it ain't for these looks.
I got his autograph. Yeah, because he's on 2 magazine covers for doing exactly what we're talking about in another business.
Yeah. And this one pays 6 times more and is energy deregulation 2.0.
Yep.
Hopefully you heard something that lit you up a little bit. And if, as a good mentor of mine said, if this doesn't set your wood on fire, what is it? If this doesn't set you on fire, then your wood's wet.
Your wood's wet.
Your wood's wet.
That's
so
exactly
hopefully
right.
you're hearing this going, I need to find out what these guys are doing. So get with us. We'll put a link down here below so that you get back to us. Give us a call. Find us on social media, wherever. But hopefully this was useful for you guys. Hopefully you got a lot of information out of this that's useful. And hopefully you enjoyed watching two complete idiots talk to you about some pretty fun stuff.
Exactly. While sipping some really good whiskey.
It was pretty good.
That's right.
Happy birthday, brother.
Hey, hope you all have a great day. And if you've got any questions, let us know. Because if we don't help you, it doesn't do us any good.
True.
You know, we're in this for the long haul. And when we help you succeed, we succeed.
Amen.
And that's how success is built. Yeah. And always remember, wealth is not built on the money you make. The wealth is built over the money that you keep.
Amen.
Y'all have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.